Have you ever wondered how to cook a beef tongue? Well, I'm going to show you in the form of a Mexican classic, lengua and salsa verde. As you can see here, this tongue right here weighs about 3.5 pounds. It's a pretty large tongue. It's going to shrink though tremendously once we start cooking it. So you can see here, there's different parts to this tongue. Right here on this back part of the tongue is where all the kind of tough, gristly area is. A lot of people don't like that, but this is great for tacos. This right here is more of the lean side. That's a part that everybody loves. But I'm going to show you how to take care of it and how to cook it. So first in the pot, we're going to place our tongue. Well, not our tongue, the cow's tongue. Anyways, put the tongue, half an onion, some garlic, a couple bay leaves, whole peppercorns, and a few cloves. Add about 3 to 3.5 quarts of water. Now this is important. If you have a pressure cooker, that's even better. It will cut the time practically in half. If you don't, you're going to do it my way. That's perfect too. If you have the time for it, I don't mind it. So I'm going to put it on the stove, turn on the flame, and it's going to come to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce to a simmer. This is the perfect time to season it. I added about 4 grams of salt here. We're going to let this go for a few hours. Going to cover it, and then in about 3.5, 4 hours, this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's starting to split. Now, you don't want this too soft because otherwise we won't be able to do the next step. So this is just about right for me. Bring the tongue out, and you have to peel it when it's hot. This is a very important step here. Listen to this. So we're going to make sure we get that off. And what I did is I scored all the way down to the tip. Scored a little line here with my knife. I didn't go all the way through, just enough to get that layer off. It's a semi-thick layer. You'll see right now how it looks. And you kind of want to just get that off. You can't eat that. Even if you try it, you'll probably choke. That's how it looks. Look for a corner here just to kind of pinch it, and then hopefully that whole piece comes off. And I went ahead and pulled it, and just that section came off. But that's the idea. That's what we're going to go do throughout the whole tongue. You can see here is like a big rubber band, elastic rubber band. You don't want that. And just start peeling away all around the tongue. You just got to remove that layer that's all over the surface of it. And after it's peeled, this is what it's going to look like. And we're going to set this so it can cool down. Now for the salsa. I'm using chayote. This is a type of squash that we have available in Mexican supermarkets. If you don't have this, you can use a zucchini or a regular Mexican squash. I'm going to go ahead and peel this and then cut it up into eighths so it can cook evenly. This right here is hoja santa. Has a very floral flavor, almost like basil, semi-licorice. And if you can't find this, you can probably find a pasote. And if you can't find that, no worries. Cilantro will be your main flavor here. So in a pot, we're going to go ahead and put most of this, the garlic, the tomatillos, and the chayote squash, except for all the herbs. In a small sauce pot, I took advantage and I took some of the broth that the tongue was cooking in. I added some of that on there, and I started adding my tomatillos. The goal for me here was to make sure that the tomatillos stayed submerged. I wanted them to stay all the way at the bottom. I didn't want them to float because sometimes tomatillos tend to float, and then a portion of it doesn't really cook. So I wanted to avoid this, put the tomatillos on there, and then I added the garlic, added more of the stock, and then the squash was on top to kind of hold it down. So I brought this up to a boil, reduced to a simmer. I think total time was about 10, 12 minutes, something like that. Now to the blender, everything goes on there. The tomatillos, the squash, the garlic. It's all going to get emulsified here pretty much. The hoja santa and the cilantro. This is a perfect opportunity to season with salt. Now the role of the squash here is that it's going to give it this pretty velvety texture without using oil. Typically I would probably use oil here and just make it very consistent. But the squash serves us that purpose, and you can see that color changed immediately. Now the tongue is cold enough for us to handle, and it firmed up again. That's what we want because we're going to cut it here. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do. Now, as you can see here, you can distinguish with this cross section here where the lean part is and where all that connective gristle type of stuff is on there, all that fatty side. You can see here, all of that is what we're gonna cut off. Now this is good for tacos, don't get me wrong. For tacos de lengua, that's perfect. But for our purpose today, we're gonna use this part. So that's the part we're gonna use. I'm gonna cut that other part off, and we're gonna reserve that for our late night tacos. You can see here, look at that cross section. That's crazy right there, right? So this is the part that we're gonna use. And now I'm gonna do medallions. You can go as thick or as thin as you want. This is about the thickness that I'm looking for. Now, if this was overcooked and hot, you wouldn't be able to do this. It will fall apart on you, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but you want this for our purpose, you want it this way. Nice medallions, semi-thick, not so thick. On a hot cast iron, I'm gonna place our medallions. I use beef tallow to cook these. And all we're looking for here is a nice seared golden brown crust, and I took advantage here and I seasoned a little bit more. Went ahead and flipped it. That's what we're looking for right there. That's perfect. Perfect texture. Nice and golden brown. Let that go for another 2-3 minutes. On a plate, right in the center, we're going to spoon some of that salsa. Just going to go ahead and create a nice little puddle here. Not too much. Just enough for the medallions to kind of like sit on top of that. Nice and shingled over each other. Like that. Beautiful. And for some color and a little bit of heat, I use Fresno peppers here. You can omit this if you don't like heat, or you could put serranos on the sauce. I chose not to do that. And then I use cilantro tips. There you go. A classic, Mexican classic, lengua and salsa verde. And in the process, you learn how to cook beef tongue. Peace.